Well, thank you to Lindsay for talking about why we do what we do and why we're here. That's been a really helpful introduction that we'll revisit and think more about later. But we also want to think about how we do it. As I mentioned before, we want to just hear some stories now, all from the last academic year, of how we've done this. And we're going to look at some principles that lie behind what the Feuer network is really all about. The first, we always say, is prayer, because prayer is the powerhouse of mission and evangelism. The Lord answers prayer, and the Lord can often make us the answers to our own prayers when we pray in that way. Kaz, who will be speaking tomorrow morning, and myself were in Bath, and we were involved in a mission week in the city of Bath in England. And it was a great week. They had really good publicity. They had some really good ways of engaging students with waffles. Food's always popular. They had some fantastic events in the different events through the week. But the thing that really struck both of us was their commitment to prayer. Every morning, gathering together before lectures to pray for the day. Bacon butters also helped if the incentive to pray wasn't enough. But praying together each day. But during the week, I was talking to one of the students, and I said, it's great that you do this. And I discovered that actually they didn't just do it for 5 days for the events week. They have actually been praying every morning of term for about the last 15 years in that student group. A commitment every single day, weekday of term, to pray for their campus, to pray for their friends, and to pray for them to hear the gospel. And it's no surprise that actually we had such a wonderful and fruitful week, because the Christian students were so committed to prayer, and we saw the fruit of it that week. So prayer is really key. A second thing that we always emphasize is the importance of preparation. Not just preparing practically for the events, although that's important, but preparing the students, the Christian believing students, to make the most of the opportunity that will be presented as we proclaim the gospel. One of the ways in the UK that we've often done that is to put on events in the build-up to an events week that can encourage people to see the power of the gospel at work. Christmas is a great time to do this. People love coming to carol services. And in Belfast, in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, they had a very big carol service. And we'll just watch their Instagram reel now, which will introduce us to what they did.
I'm Graham Daniels. I work for Christians in Sport, and I'm here for the Belfast citywide carol service this evening. Oh, it's incredible being able to speak at this event when you have a stand full, well over 1,000 people, in an event put on by students across this city. There can't really be anything more thrilling at Christmas. I think it's magnificent.
Yes, there's been a massive team involved with setting this up. It's been a long time in the making, and to see it sort of come together, it's been so good. It hasn't got the sort of church ties that maybe people wouldn't be willing to come along to, and that sort of ground, that sort of place where we have at Kingspan just sort of enables us to be able to have that place where people feel comfortable to come and have their thoughts provoked by our speakers, our carols, and yeah, it's so encouraging to see so many people turn up.
It's great that we can be united together as CUs across Belfast and not just individual campuses, because at the end of the day we're all coming together for one reason, and that is to share Jesus with the students in Belfast.
Brilliant. So that's one of the ways they were preparing the Christian students with a fantastically big carol service that was a couple of months before the events week, the mission week. Kenny is around somewhere. Kenny, come and join me, because you were one of the speakers at that week. Give him a round of applause. You can use that one. You're not from Northern Ireland, you're from?
I'm from Scotland, but we're related, all of us.
Celtic kin. Yeah. Tell us what was so encouraging about that week.
Yeah, it was an amazing week to be a part of. So I was involved in the lunchtime talks. They did a citywide week. There are 3 universities in Belfast, so they each did their own lunchtime events on their own campuses and then got together for a central evening event. The lunchtime events were really, the focus was to try and rebuild confidence in the students in public apologetics after COVID, and that worked really well. So 2 of the other campuses, they regularly ran out of food each day as students came along. I was involved at the lunch bars at Queen's, which is I think it's one of the biggest Christian unions in Europe, and they had well over 100 students coming every day. And I spoke to more than one Christian student after each lunch bar who said that their friends were more open to the claims of Christianity after these apologetic talks, which was just wonderful. But the main highlight were the evening events, which were just a bit crazy, to be honest. So they anticipated quite large numbers, so they decided to run the evening event twice each evening, back to back, once at 7 p.m. and then repeat it again at 9 p.m. Each evening, for each event, they put out about 350 chairs, and each at the 7 p.m. one, it was about 3/4 full, and then at the 9 p.m. one each evening, it was overflowing, and they had people standing at the back, standing at the doors, sitting at the front. So we reckon we had, at a conservative estimate, over 700 students an evening coming to these evening events and hearing Graham just brilliantly share the gospel with them. But what's unique about Northern Ireland's a unique place in many ways, and one of the unique challenges that they have is that it's very easy for them to get large numbers of Christians along to Christians' events like this. And the challenge they have is helping the Christian students see that this is not just a nice event for Christians, but it's one that they can bring their friends along to hear the gospel. And what the staff did brilliantly in the build-up to the events week, and actually before the carol service, the whole way through the first semester, is that they worked really hard at getting the Christian students in the Christian unions to do evangelism in small groups as build-up to their bigger events, so that by the time the events week came along, that was not the first time that their friends had been invited to an event. So the way through the first semester, the CUs did small events, evangelistic events, just in small groups in halls and in other areas, alongside then the whole CU putting on bigger events that then built up to the carol service and then built up to the events week. And that was, I think, what was so particularly fruitful about the evening events when they had these hundreds of students coming. It wasn't just Christian students turning up, but it was Christian students confidently bringing their friends along who heard the gospel. And we heard of a number of professions of faith in the period immediately following that as well.
Fantastic.